God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Jai Baba to everyone. This time also we are reading the Sparks from Meher Baba. This is the book Sparks from Meher Baba, and we are on page 9. I am selecting random paragraphs, random messages uh, based on what I thought we've not already covered or we've covered briefly. So Soumya would now read. This is from page number 9. Why don't you put this in? Yes. So I don't have to shout.
The soul. Individuals are as drops in the ocean. As each drop is identical with the ocean, the soul, which is individualized, is still the one being and does not really become separate.
We have been doing this over and over again, that all the attributes that are in the ocean are also built into the drop. The drop is not separated from the ocean. We have also seen God Speaks says that the Atma in reality is the Paramatma. In other words, any observation, any experience of our being separated from the ocean, that is separated from the Paramatma, is because of illusion, because of ignorance. Even knowing this intellectually, obviously we don't experience that, but even knowing this intellectually through the mind is also so much of a, what should I say, a relief, so much of a sense of, satisfaction, that we are never ever separated from God. So in other words, all fears, all anxieties, all apprehensions are all self-created because of our own ignorance. Here Baba says, individuals are as drops in the ocean. We have seen that there is an ocean which we have like compared to the Paramatma. Of course, not the ocean, physical ocean that we see, because that is absolutely minuscule. Even the earth is just a pinpoint in terms of creation. So where is the question of ocean? It's just very, very small. But here Baba is talking about God as the infinite, unlimited, shoreless, bottomless, surfaceless ocean. So here Baba says, individuals are drops in the ocean. In other words, we are never out of the ocean. We as individuals can never be out of Paramatma. As each drop is identical with the ocean, that means each drop is identical with the ocean. It is the same as the ocean. In fact, it is the ocean. But we are thinking that I am the drop because of the existence of a bubble, which is the bubble of ignorance, bubble of Maya, bubble of illusion, whatever we want to say. So Baba says, as each drop is identical with the ocean, the soul, which is individualized, is still the one being, capital O, capital B. That means that soul is the same as the ocean. Is still the one being and does not really become separate. In other words, we as creatures in the entire gamut of creation can never ever really be separated from the source, from the Paramatma, from God. So here again, as I say, these sentences may look very simple, very innocent. What is there? But what is there is you have to create what is there within you. In itself, it is just 3 lines. But what is there? You and I have to create within ourselves this very authentic, what should I say, conviction within ourselves that I can never ever be separated from God. If I ever feel that I don't feel the presence of God, it is because I am not focusing enough on the reality. I am too much involved or enmeshed in duality, in illusion, in I, my, me, and mine, in separateness, in selfishness, in self centeredness. That is why I am going through this so called suffering, so called depression, so called loneliness, so called there is no one for me, so called where is God for me, etc., etc. So this is the learning from these three lines, that we are never ever separated from God. In fact, Baba says God, at one place Baba says God of himself, I am closer to you than your very breath. We identify ourselves with the breath, because the moment breath goes, we are nowhere. The closest to us is the breath. And Baba says, I am closer to you than your very breath. And at other times, Baba says, it is not just that God is with you, around you, in you, but the fact is, God is you. Now, this is again, as I said, it is only intellectualizing, but it is only through the passage of intellect that we may reach the actual experience. It is only through the pathway of illusion that we may reach the actual truth or reality or the goal. So that was one sentence.
Neither seek death nor fear it. And when death comes to you, it is converted into a stepping stone to the higher life.
Just two lines. Baba says, neither seek death. Many people seek death. They ask for death, and sometimes they impose upon themselves the artificial cut or separation of the soul and the body, which we call as suicide, which is the worst thing, Baba says, that can ever happen to any soul. Neither seek death nor fear it. Most of the people, if you ask them for what are you afraid about, they would say death. Why? Because they are afraid about the unknown. They do not know what is happening. I'm sure you all know, and we all know Nan Umbriger. She has written 3 books about her experiences of communication from the other side, received from the other side. And almost all of that says that it's a beautiful experience. It's a painless experience. Experience where we all feel more liberated, more full of joy, more happy, more at peace, more tranquil, etc., etc. So in other words, there are people who fear death, which is an absolutely unfounded fear, because ultimately, if you really analyze from where have we come, let's take an example. I'm going from my home to see a movie. So I've seen the movie. I've been there for 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And then where do I go? I go back home. So am I afraid to go back home and leave the theater? No, because I know that's where I came from and that's where I'm supposed to go. So in the same way, if our mindset is that we have come from a specific place, that is the astral world or the semi-subtle world, and after finishing our task here on earth, which basically means that after experiences, the impressions which we have gathered, in other words, well, let's say unwinding of our samskaras or utilizing or expanding our samskaras. And when all the samskaras are over, what do? We go back home. But very few people, that's what the second sentence, my interpretation of the second sentence is, and when death comes to you, it is converted into a stepping stone to the higher life. Now, it could be interpreted in several ways. One of the ways is that you lead such a beautiful life on earth, life of love, life of selfless service, life of concern, caring for the others, life of charity, life of forgiveness. All these things are very beautiful things. And that will take you to what Baba calls as stepping stone to the higher life. That means you will then experience the state of heaven for a very nice long period of time and enjoy over there. But that is not the real place where we are expected to finally reach. That is not our goal. Heaven and earth is not our goal. Heaven
Right.
and hell is not our goal. The goal is to experience oneness with God and experience that bliss which is infinite and which we experience eternally. And here I would like to interpret when Baba says, you convert that death into a stepping stone for the higher life. I would interpret it that we convert that moment of death, that one moment, to reach the ultimate, which is when Baba says that if you remember me at the time of breathing your last, you come to me. And when Charles Charles Purdom asked, C.B. Purdom asked Baba, what is the meaning of come to me? Baba was very, very explicit. He said, comes to me means that particular soul experiences infinite bliss eternally. That means bliss which is infinite, not just pseudo bliss, not just bevda pike you are in bliss or drugs leke you are in bliss for a short period of time. That is not bliss. That is absolute hope, humbug. Infinite bliss, and that too eternally for all times. And that soul does not reincarnate. It never comes back again. So what a beautiful, what a profound key, chavi, Baba has given in our hand. And we need to focus our entire life of 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years for that one moment. What is that moment? The moment when in Gujarati, in Parsi, we say, कि दम लेवानो भूली गयो. Mean दम बाहर निकाला, लेकिन अंदर लेने को भूल गया. Something like that. That last breath, when you breathe your last, you need to remember Baba. You need to remember any of your ideal as God, Krishna, Buddha, Rama, Jesus, Muhammad, whatever. If you remember that, it is Baba's promise that you don't come back again. Now there is a lot of, I wouldn't say debate, but there are different viewpoints where some people say, no, 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 you come back again as in a very close Baba family. You come back again as a spiritually advanced souls. I do not know, because so far I have not read it in any Baba's authentic book. What I have read, I am just conveying that Baba says that that soul never comes back and that soul experiences infinite bliss eternally. So it's a very beautiful sentence, just two lines, but very profound. Again, what is the takeaway for us? What are we going to take from these two sentences? To prepare ourselves, to prepare ourselves. You know, I am a Boy Scouts, and I know there are many on this group also. The motto is be prepared. So we need to be prepared for that one last moment where we just remember Baba and breathe our last and go away. And if any of us get the opportunity to help anybody else who's breathing their last to remember their God, you don't have to, you know, धक्का मार के बाबा का ही नाम लेने का उसको ऐसे नहीं. If somebody is a Krishna Bhakt, you encourage that person to remember Krishna or Rama or whosoever that is, because I personally feel, this is my personal take, that that could be the best ever service that you can give to anybody by helping somebody to achieve mukti or moksha that way. So coming back, okay, this is over.
You are infinite. You are really everywhere. But you think you are the body and therefore consider yourself limited. If you look within and experience your own soul in its true nature, you will realize that you are infinite and beyond all creation.
Now, Baba says, we don't experience it. Baba says, you are infinite. That means unlimited. You are really everywhere, which means you are omnipresent. You are everywhere. Everywhere is you. But what is that you that Baba is talking about? We are not able to grasp. We are not able to appreciate. Definitely, we are not able to experience. We are only speaking about it and intellectualizing it, that Baba is talking about the real you or the real I. That means the soul, the spirit behind the form. But we are so attached to the form. Baba says that you are really everywhere, but you think you are the body. All of us, the moment somebody says anybody's name, I, what do we think? We are only concerned about the body. And therefore, okay, let me come. And therefore, consider yourself limited. And therefore, you think that you are limited. If you look within and experience your own soul in its true nature, what is the nature of the soul? Infinite, immortal, which is eternal, that which cannot be divided, indivisible, always was, always remain. That is the real nature of our I or the real self. But unfortunately, because of ignorance, because of the prabhav of Maya over us, because of eons and eons of practice or habit or self-hypnosis of identifying ourselves with the body, we are finding it difficult to understand how is it that I am not this body. You see, if you look within and experience your own soul in its true nature, you will realize that you are infinite and beyond all creation. That means you are out of the creation, you are infinite. And Baba had given us in the sense he had given to the Mandli a very splendid prayer or a theme to talk about, to meditate upon and to speak out. And that is, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not this, I am not that. I am nothing but a living lie of that truth that is me. And unless the lie is dead, the truth cannot be. In other words, I am wrongly identifying with my lie, Jut, which is not truth. And unless the lie is dead, the truth cannot be. In other words, Baba says that you need to focus all the time on the real I and not on the body, not on the mind, not on the emotions, not on the thoughts. Many people identify themselves with emotions, with thoughts, with anger, with lust, with greed. Oh, you are not that. That may be coming to you, but you are not that. And Baba said, the other day I narrated one episode about Pratap Ahir going to Joshi Bua. And when Pratap asked, Aap Joshi Bua ho, so what was the superb reply that he gave? He said, you know, that is deha ko Joshi Bua kehte hain. Yani he has identified himself that this is the deha, which means the body, the form. इस फॉर्म को जोशी बुआ कहते हैं. मैं तो कोई और ही हूं, कोई अलग ही हूं. So in the same way, if we little by little practice that I am not this body, that body belongs to me, body is given to me, and the purpose of the body is to know who I really am. That's all. Body is like a car, and the car is given to us so that we may go from here to, let's say, Mehrabad. But as I'm driving the car, if I identify myself with the car and say, I am the car, then that lies the problem. The car is only a medium or a madhyam or an instrument for me to go from unconscious divinity to conscious divinity, for me to go from the false I to the real I, for me to go from the dream state to the awake state, for me to go from duality to unity. So this body is there only for that purpose, and it has to serve that purpose. But instead of serving that purpose, we get into so many other aspects of body, and we get so attached, so attached to the body, and not only to our body, but to others' bodies, that we cry and weep and wail when that other's body go away. In short, when they die or something happens, we are so distraught, we are so unnerved, we are so exasperated. What do I do? Why? Because of our wrong, false attachment and identification with the car, which is given to us only for traveling from unconscious divinity to conscious divinity. So that is the takeaway from this particular 3-line sentence, where we need to work upon ourselves in small things, where we feel that I am not this body. You have to keep on, like Baba uses the word, if you look within, that means we must start practicing this practice of looking within. What is the looking within? I don't know. You can't open the shirt and look within, or can't put your eyes into your mouth and see what is my within. Within would mean that our consciousness should be focused on the inner I or the real I, which is the real thing and not the physical body or things outside of us. So that was the, now what we'll do is I'll say for half an hour, and then we'll have question answers, and then again we'll go ahead to whatever we can do, so that you can build up your questions then. Otherwise, in between, if we do question answers, we might spend a lot of time on that. So now the next one.
Nature is much more than what a man perceives through the senses of his physical body. There are hidden aspects of nature that have finer matter and forces. All interpenetrate and exist together.
Nature, Kudrat as we call it, Shrishti, is much more than what a man perceives through the senses of his physical body. We all know, Baba says, we have not experienced, at least I have not experienced. Baba says there are 3 bodies, the gross, the subtle, and the mental. And each body would have their own set of perceptions, means those yantras for perceptions. For example, in the gross form, we have the 5 senses. We all know that. It is only through the 5 senses that I am able to perceive the outer physical gross world. Now, if I were to progress into the subtle world, my 5 senses will not be functioning at all, in the sense I will be perceiving the world through my subtle senses, because now I have become a subtle conscious human being. It does not mean that I would not be using my gross senses. It would be used as if unconsciously we have done this before, and indirectly. What I'm trying to say, what Baba is trying to say is that all these modes of perceptions are in you. Baba has said it so many times that the gross world, the subtle world, and the mental world is within you. The spiritual path, the involutionary journey is within you. The angels and the archangels is within you. Everything is within you. And when Baba uses the you, Baba is using the real you, not the false bodily you, right? So, okay, I'm reminded of a nice whatever quote from Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. This I read it many years back, maybe, I don't know. at least 45, 50 years back. And I liked it, where it says, I may not quote exactly, but words to the effect, thou seest many stars in the night, but findest them not when the sun rises. Can thou say then that there are no stars in the heaven? And then he goes on to say, O man, because thou beholdest not God in your ignorance, say not that there is no God. In short, what he was aiming at was sense of perception. In the night, we see the stars and the moon. During the day, we do not see the stars and the planets and the moon. Does it mean that they are not there? They are there. But because we cannot see them, you cannot say that they are not there. In the same way, he is saying that because you cannot see God in your ignorance, because of your ignorance, never say that there is no God. But I am linking this to what Baba has said, that there are so many things within us, but we cannot see it, we cannot perceive it. So do not say that they do not exist. Baba says that all these, everything about creation is all intertwined. They are all within us. It is only a matter of consciousness. Baba gives a very superb example. Supposing there's somebody who is deaf from birth. He's deaf from birth. Does it mean that the sound does not exist? The sound does exist. But for that person who is deaf, sound is the other world. In other words, because he cannot perceive sound, he doesn't know how to appreciate sound, how to know sound, how to experience sound. Because he is deaf does not mean that the sound does not exist. It is just because he do not have the sorry he does not have the proper yantra, the wherewithal, the perception unit in order to perceive sound. In the same way, we all have everything that is needed. But because we are enveloped with samskaras, that is the reason why we cannot penetrate or go into that kshetra. And let me give you another example. For example, when we download some apps, McAfee or some antivirus or something, and they give it to us for free trial for 1 month or something. Now in that, it is a whole package. So many things you can do with that. But as a free package, they will give you only limited access. They will give you only limited portion where you can access. But if you pay and convert that free version into a paid version, then you will be given access to everything that is there, isn't it? Does it mean that in the original free version, those other aspects were not there? No, they were there. But we were not given access to those versions because we did not pay. So in the same way, Baba says, within us is every single thing. But because we cannot access it, we have got no permit. We do not have that yantra, that chavi to open those doors of the subtle and the mental world, and of course to God himself. That is why Baba says that, here Baba says, where is it? There are hidden aspects of nature that have finer matter and forces. All interpenetrate and exist together. Everything is existing and interpenetrating within us, but we do not have access to it because we are ourselves blocking that access because of our ignorance, because of the accumulation, Herculean, mountainous, I would say, accumulation of samskaras. We'll do one more and then I'll open up for question answers.
The masters of wisdom have no special interest in past incarnations, for they are among the many unimportant facts of earthly existence.
We had taken this up earlier about past incarnations and doing a past life regression and stuff like that. I don't want to get into a debate that, okay, some trauma was there and that is removed. Maybe it is helpful physically, I don't know. The masters of wisdom, that means the true masters who have got wisdom, the real wisdom, have no special interest in past incarnations. See, when you give any importance to the past, it means indirectly that the present is superfluous, not important, unimportant, thu, and the past was the reality. Whereas in fact, this is thu, as well as the past is thu. In a sense, everything is in the domain of illusion. Why give one illusion more importance to the other, compared to the other? And that is why Baba has been harping upon the importance of the present moment, of the eternal now, of making the best use of the present moment, because the present moment is the accumulation. Baba uses the word coagulated mold. In God Speaks, he uses that word very often. It's a mold of all of the past. I'm not talking about just one life or 10 lives or 100 lives. All of the past is molded into the present. So what we are today is most important. How we put our input, how we respond to moment appearance on our screen, what life shows us, how do we attend to that is the most important factor in spirituality, which will then make the mold different. Gradually, every moment it is changing for the next past moment, the next present moment, next present moment, next present moment. So here Baba says that the masters of wisdom have no special interest in past incarnations, for they are among the many unimportant facts of earthly existence. The past incarnation was an unimportant fact of the earthly existence. The present moment is also unimportant. It is for us to make it important. When somebody asks, what is the meaning of life, a very profound answer is that life itself has no meaning. It is you who have to put meaning into life, and that will all change the entire gamut of how one conducts oneself in life. In other words, every moment is a moment when either you are getting more and more bound, or you are getting more and more emancipated, that is freed. It rests upon us how we input our responses and actions in the moment to moment living. Having said that, I think it's almost, I've passed 5:30. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll continue again. I've removed the phone connection so that, let it be, so that it can be recorded here for people who would like to hear later on.
Rakesh has a
Yes, Rakesh, go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to ask, is it preordained that a particular soul will get mukti and another soul will achieve God realization whenever?
That's what Baba had said, because when Baba was asked once as to who is, like marked or shortlisted, so to speak, for God realization, who will become perfect masters, who will become saliks, who will become mazubs, who will get mukti. So Baba says all this has been already decided from the beginning of time. That is what Baba said. But I appreciate this question. But at the same time, I feel being in the domain of illusion, where we have been granted this so-called apparent free will, one should exercise, what I would say as spiritually mature choices in order to do that. Because, see, I remember once when Baba was asked something to do with the divine plan, and Baba very beautifully said, in his inimitable manner, the divine plan is that there is no plan. So, in other words, in other words, in other words, even if you are destined, let us say, for only mukti, but because of your anxiousness to know God, to love God, to do things that would please God, maybe you will be upgraded to become a perfect master. Who knows? So, in other words, my understanding is it's all in a flux. It's constantly in a flux and far, far, far above our intellectual understanding. So I limit myself with what I understand, that since we have been told that there is something like a free choice or a free will, let me use that to my benefit. At the end of the story, ultimately Baba knows what he has got to do with us, each one of us. But let us, on our part, it's something like, let me put it this way. The whole of the creation is a drama, and Rakesh Gupta has been allocated a place in that drama as a king. And the director says that when, at a sign, you have to walk like a king and do this. But somehow Rakesh feels that, no, I can do better acting of the king, And so you act in a better way. So although it has been preordained that you will walk from this gate of the stage and you will say like this, you will act like this, impromptu, intuitively, you felt like saying certain lines which were not on the script by using your free choice. And that element is there in us. So in other words, although in a sense things are preordained, in another sense you are free to use your, as I always say, spiritually mature choices and maybe alter that to a very great extent. So
Okay,
it's
one
a chance to
question.
play. Sorry?
If you were to make a choice, would you go for mukti or you still continue your journey?
No,
I
I
mean,
would
let's say
definitely go for mukti.
Mukti.
I would definitely go for mukti. Why? Because I know there are some people who say, I don't want mukti. I want to come back again and serve the master and be closer to him and do whatever. It's a very lofty thought. I don't say no. But I'm saying that is your choice. That is your way of pleasing the master. But what does the master want? Master wants that we remember him and we attain the mukti, because that is why he has listed that point number 6 in my wish. That is the wish of Baba, that we all remember him and achieve mukti. Now, if I'm imposing my wish over Baba's wish and say, no, Baba, I know you want to give me mukti, but I want to come back again and love you and serve you and all that. That is my wish. That means I am superseding the master's wish. There is that story. Yeah, there is that story about Baba's spiritual sister, Pilamai. She hailed from Karachi and she got to know that Baba travels often in train and he always chooses to go by third class. At that time, there was third class also, the third class. And it is so crowded that they are only standing, they don't even get a seat to sit on. And so she made a very fancy, beautiful stool, a kind of a seat for Baba, which was foldable. So anybody who's traveling with Baba can carry that stool in a foldable manner. And then instead of Baba standing in that rush, they can just open it, a small one. They can just open it and Baba can sit on it. And at least to that extent, he can go comfortably. Now, it so happened that on the day when she brought that seat, the stool for Baba, Baba was also there, she was also there, and some of the Mandli were also there. So very proudly and happily she is, inaugurating the seat and says, Baba, this I have made it specially for you with a lot of love. I want you to sit on it. So Baba says, no, you sit on it. And she says, no, I would never sit on it. This has been made specially and specifically for you. It is for your honor. It is for your comfort. Again, Baba says, no, but I am telling you to sit on it. Again, she argues and says, no, Baba, I can never do such a thing. Because, and so-called to and fro. What did Baba do? Baba threw the stool or the chair out of the running train, just to give a lesson to his own spiritual sister Pilamai, that more than your sentiments about the stool or about even me, what is important is my word, is obeying my word, is looking into my wish and my happiness. So what is Baba's wish and Baba's happiness? His wish is that we just pop off and go off this scene, so that one less headache for him now. In the next time he come, he has to attend to one less idiot like you and me, you see. So then that is the reason why Baba says, Baba, thoro jaldi jaldi mukti le lo, idhar se nikal jao sir. But no, we are insisting, no, I am going to come back again and I am going to serve Baba and I am going to love Baba. I am not for mukti. So if your question to me, direct question, what would I like? Yes, I would like to please Baba by obeying him and trying to remember him in my last breath, at my last breath. So this is a prayas, you know, from our side. Ye hai meri arzi, aage tumhari marzi. That's how it goes. Yes, Ami?
Conversely, it can also mean that, if somebody wants to get into the subtle world, that is so
Okay,
difficult.
okay. Yeah, anything else to ask, Rakesh? Okay. Samya, would you like to
Thank
say? I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. I think what Samya is trying to hint at, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if somebody is destined to become a perfect master, that is what we have understood. Intellectually, I have not read it anywhere. This is my own version. I am very particular about saying this because none should think that that is what Baba said. If their destiny or their final junction is God realization, then that person, even though he or she may have said Baba's name at the time of breathing his or her last, comes back again as a circle member or as some advanced soul, so that the junction, what should I say, destiny that is already laid out for that particular soul gets stamped by getting God realization. This is our understanding, because somebody did ask that Mani must have said Baba's name, obviously, and Baba said that Mani would become a perfect master. And how can you become a perfect master unless you reincarnate? That means Mani, in spite of taking Baba's name, will have to reincarnate, because her junction or his final destiny was God realization and not just mukti. This is how I understand.
And God realization, and the life to achieve God realization is extremely difficult. If you read the lives of all those who have realized God, it is so difficult. It is so difficult. It's very difficult. It's easy for us to take Baba's name and just be one.
So what I feel is, when Baba has given us this shortcut, this option, why do we break our head with so many other things? Just remember him constantly, so that when we breathe our last, hopefully Baba will take into account our efforts at remembering him and loving him on a day-to-day basis, and he can grant us that baksha of mukti. That's what I feel. Okay? And thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions to ask? Or should we go ahead with the reading? All right.
No, Namita had a question. And
Yes, Namita. Yes, Namita, go ahead.
I think some of it got answered with what you told Rakesh.
You got the
I also think that, my confusion was when you take
your sound is cracking, Namita.
Namita, your Wi-Fi, internet is becoming...
I think, I'll ask it another time. Something wrong with my Wi-Fi today.
Can't hear you. But as long as if you feel that some of the answers have come to you through Rakesh's questions, yeah,
Yes.
Fine.
Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Anybody
Yeah, you
else?
continue.
No, can't hear you, Namita dear.
Yeah, fine.
Can't hear you. Now we can hear you. After muting your mic. Okay, okay, chalo.
Dilshad.
Okay, anybody else? No.
Wait, Dilshad has a question.
Oh, Dilshad. Where's Dilshad? Where's Dilshad?
She's coming.
I'm
Yeah, there.
Come.
trying to unmute, sorry. Sarasji, just one small thought that came to my mind is that even if, say, for example, Mani Aunty comes back as perfect master or
No,
other
no, she
people
cannot. Mind you. Nobody comes back as perfect master. They come back as spiritually advanced souls and become perfect in that particular time, and either becomes in that lifetime, and either becomes perfect master or Mazub or Salix. But for money, Baba said she'll become a perfect master. Perfect master is never born. You become perfect in that life. Go ahead. Mani बोलते हैं.
Dilshad.
Dilshad, go ahead.
Her mic got muted. Wait, I'll have to.
But did you get my point? This is very important, that nobody is born perfect. You become perfect in that lifetime. Yeah, achieve perfection in that life. Anything else? अरे किधर गुम हो गई?
She's not able to unmute her mic.
अरे बाप रे. Baba knows best.
Yeah, maybe later she'll ask her.
Okay,
parents question.
okay, chalo. Is it put inside? All right, now we'll read.
Cyrus, there are three more
Purpose of
people
life.
Sorry, there's 3-4 people who want to ask.
who just came in. Yeah, so you want to finish one para and ask?
No, we'll finish the question answers.
Okay,
Never mind.
Yasmin.
Otherwise, they may forget. They are all forgettable.
One
Okay,
minute.
go ahead.
I was saying that even for money and even
Yes.
for Gandhiji, like they said, they become perfect masters, but they said it'll take 2-3 lifetimes. Is it
Yes,
true?
yes. Just imagine, yeah. Yes,
I mean,
yes.
they not become perfect masters in the next lifetime.
No, it all depends upon.
Because Baba said we
No,
know.
because Baba said we know. Otherwise, some may be in the next lifetime, some may be in 2 lifetimes or 3 lifetimes. But what I understand, Yasmin, is that all the circle members become one with God in that avataric period of 700 years. So in other words, the next time when he comes after 700 years, his circle would be quite different from this circle because they have already achieved God realization. This is my understanding. You got my point? And because this time he's coming after 700 years and not 1400 years, he will have to expedite the God realization process for all these people, the circle members.
But will the
Whether
circle
it's
members
one
come back
lifetime or
again?
2 lifetimes, I don't know. It all
But
depends. It's all varied.
She was very specific about Gandhiji and
Yeah, if Baba has said that Gandhiji will achieve God realization after 3 lifetimes, then obviously he has to come 2 more lifetimes, maybe progress and then drop the body, again progress and then drop the body and then achieve perfection. Got it?
Yeah, he said, I think whether he was becoming a perfect master or God realization, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't.
on the net.
Sorry?
Yeah, and also I wanted to ask, hello,
Yeah, go ahead.
will the circle members come again?
Okay.
Never,
So, okay.
never.
Actually,
No, because Baba says that the circle members get realization in that period before he
That's
comes
every-
again.
yeah.
So obviously, if they have become God realized, not necessarily perfect masters, God realized, then obviously they won't come back. No, Yasmin,
Yeah,
they won't come. They won't come back.
Yeah, thank
Even because we get mistaken because Baba says, you know, that this is my Peter and this is my John and this is my this. So it is only the office that is held. The characteristic features, the mannerism, the whatever, you know, the attitude, all that remains the same more or less. But the same soul does not come back. Got it? Okay, next.
Delna.
Okay.
Hi, Jai Baba Sari Soumya.
Hey, Baba, dear
Jai Baba,
Delna.
darling.
What I wanted to check is when we say the perfect master, like for example, you just said money will come back and she will become a perfect master in her next life. So
Next.
how does one become a perfect master? Does Baba choose the perfect masters, or it is their
I would look at it, see, it's a spiritual progression, first plane, second plane, third plane, etc.
okay?
Correct? Now, those who are in the inner circle, we are told that Mani and Mehra were the appendages, as Baba calls it, appendages, the women members in the circle, you know.
Correct.
And so, how they become is they in the normal process. That when now, for example, this is hypothetical. That
Okay.
in the next birth, let us say Mani comes, and he progresses. No, he comes as he now. Now. Anyway, it was my mistake. It was my mistake. She comes. I don't know. So that means I am leading a sexless life. You know, that means, in other words, I am not a sexist, whatever you call it. I don't distinguish between the sex anyway. So supposing she comes as an advanced soul, let's say this time she has already progressed third plane, fourth plane, fifth plane. We do not know, because
Okay.
Baba did say that I take my circle members blindfolded so that they do not get any experiences of the plane. Because if you do get the experiences of the plane, then you tend to get waylaid. You tend to play along with those toys of Riddhi Siddhi and miracles and all that. You know, so assuming this is just an assumption that she comes back as a third planar or as a fourth planar, and obviously whenever she comes, there are existing perfect masters at that time, and those existing perfect masters will always seek her out or him out at that time, whatever that sex is, and then they would make her or him progress and make her or him realize God in that lifetime. And when you realize God, you have three options in the sense you don't have options, but you are either a Mazhub or Salik or a perfect master. So Baba said she would be a perfect master. So you are not born, what I wanted to convey was, you are never born straight away as a perfect master. You are born as a spiritually advanced soul, maybe first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever the plane is, and then you progress further through your own longing towards spirituality, through your own attachment to the perfect masters of that time, and then you progress further.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Anybody else? Okay. Then we go on to the next. Yeah, we still have time. Go ahead.
I'm not, I think I'm in queue, but anyway.
No, please. No, if you are in queue, then why not?
It's more, it's not a question. When you were talking about, getting this God realization, the person who really missed it is Dr. Grant.
Okay.
So he was Baba's physician. And Baba asked me anything I will give you. And he said, I want to make the best hospitals.
Uh-huh.
So he was given. He's got 3 best hospitals in Pune. They are called Ruby Hall Clinics.
Yes.
Those are the best hospitals.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, the guy missed his boat.
I know.
Yeah.
There are many. There are many. See, now Soumya is reminding me of a story. We are getting into stories. Never mind.
Oh, good.
I'm sure we all. Baba said this. A master once told one of his very close disciples, that I'm in a mood to give you God realization. So tomorrow morning, sharp at 5 o'clock, come into my room and I will give you instantaneously God realization. And the disciples said, yes, I will definitely come. For whatever reason, he was so thrilled with the thought that he did not sleep for the night. And as the time came closer, he dozed off and he couldn't reach there at 5. But instead, the milkman just knocked at the door and came in at sharp 5 o'clock, and he got God realization. So that also was some story where obviously he must have deserved it. It's all pre-planned. But for us, it's a story. So
Yeah.
what perhaps Baba wants to convey is that you have to, when you have to obey the master, you have to be so alert. You have to be so conscious. You have to be so mindful and aware that no matter what, you should not miss that opportunity. So it's like, yeah. So now we'll start the reading. So please.
No, somebody else is.
Oh, sorry.
Cyrus, Anaita
Yes.
here.
Yes,
Jai
yes,
Baba.
go on.
Cyrus, I just wanted to ask you. I have not read God Speaks entirely yet, but the God Speaks is about a dropped soul till it
Yes.
reaches realization, right? And
Yes.
I just wanted to know if there is any mention about this in God Speaks, where Baba says that if you take my name when you breathe your last, you will
No.
come to me.
No.
Okay.
God
Okay, thank
Speaks does not have a single word called love. God Speaks only is a biography of a soul from creation to realization. How the forms change and how they follow the sorry? Why don't you? No, it's not autobiography. Anyway, yeah, it's a biography of a soul, so to speak. The journey of the soul, let's put it that way, from unconscious divinity to conscious divinity. Divinity is always there. Divinity can never ever be not there, because everything that protrudes, that comes out of divine, is nothing but divine. Even though we may call evil, we may call Satan, whatever it is, Satan has no place unless God has created that. And God has created that with a purpose, in order for us to know what we should not be doing, so that it propels us. It's only when we know what we should not do, it propels us to go forward to what we are supposed to do. I remember a nice story. I think we'll need to add with the story. Baba's niece, Shirin, that is, we all know Dara Amrit. So Dara's sister, Shirin, she was very young, I think about 11 years old or something. And she was very, obviously, for Shirin, it was Baba was a kaka, uncle. So she goes to Baba and says, Baba, I just want to ask you a very important question. I know, I believe that you are God. Just because I'm saying this, don't think that I don't believe that you are God. Young children, how they say, I believe you are God. But I don't understand how you as God, you're so sweet, so nice and so gentle and so loving. How could you create such things as, as scorpions and snakes and cockroaches and all these dirty creatures, How is it? Because you are a creator. Why did you create all these dirty, filthy, negative things? And Baba smiles and says, yeah, it's a very, very good question. And then Baba, this was Baba's habit. Instead of answering, he would answer with a question. And he asked Shirin, that you are such a beautiful girl. I love you so much, But do you go for potty? Every day you go for potty? And she says, yes, I do. And what comes out when you do a potty, Does it stink? Is it dirty? Is it stinking? Is it, obnoxious? And she says, yes, it is. And how is it that you are, even though you know that these things are so dirty, how is it that every day still you are going for potty? Something like that. So then Baba explains in that manner that these very things that you produce and bring out maintains your health, maintains your beauty. You are not attached to this. You have got nothing to do with it, but they are very much an integral part of your growth, of your beauty, and of your health. So in the same way, in order for the entire creation, the entire universe to be healthy, there are requirements of such negative things in creation. It is these things which give importance to the beauty of the world, to the goodness of the world, to all that is pure, to all that is beautiful, to all that is, something like that. So in other words, that is how Baba so beautifully explained that these things are necessary. They are the so-called, when somebody asks Baba, what is evil? I've repeated this many times. Baba said that there is no evil. It is only a lower degree of goodness. So from the standpoint of truth, from the standpoint of Advait, from the standpoint of oneness or unity, there is only one. And what appears to be opposite of that is nothing but the lower end of that one. In other words, ugliness is the lower end of beauty. For example, fear is the lower end of love. So it is one only. And as I said, a viciousness or vice or evil is nothing but the other end or the lowest end of goodness. So in other words, there's only one, there's only truth, there is only love. All that we experience as the opposite of that is actually a part of that at a lower level. All right, any more questions? I think we already exceeded 6 o'clock. It doesn't matter if there are questions.
Pari.
Sorry?
Pari.
Pari has a question.
I
Yes,
wanted
Pari.
to share based on what Ram uncle said about the doctor missing out on God realization, like
Please
one of
do.
the most selfless things that was asked from Baba came from a Prem Ashram boy.
Okay.
And that is the reason the book Sobs and Throbs came about
Sobs and
by Ramju Abdullah.
Absolutely.
So Baba again was in one of those moods where he told this particular Prem Ashram boy that ask whatever you want and I will grant it to you. And Ramju was sitting and overhearing this conversation, and he thought that this is a little boy, he will definitely ask for something materialistic. And the boy turns around and tells Baba, I want your suffering to end.
Beautiful.
And when Ramju heard that, he was so moved that such a little boy can be so very selfless when Baba is offering to give him anything that he wants, and he's wanting for Baba's suffering to end. So that is how he was inspired to write the book Sobs and
So
Throbs.
true. Yeah, it's a very beautiful book. Do read Sobs and Throbs. Yeah,
But I think it's out of print.
yeah, by Ramju.
Ramju Abdullah.
Okay, anybody else has anything to ask?
Yes.
Yes. Who?
Pari.
Pari? I think she got muted.
Pari, don't say anything more emotional because my computer will go off. Huh? It's a very intuitive computer. Anyway, I think today
Pari,
enough for today. Oh, Pari has come. Okay, Pari, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
You can hear me. Achha. No, I wanted to ask you also, you keep mentioning angels and archangels. So what is the difference between the two?
Okay. See, this is there in God Speaks. If you are doing God Speaks, then you will go learn that. But in short, these are unincarnate souls. That means they have never taken incarnation in a human form. And in the process of creation, there are those angels which have archangels first. They have got stuck between the 5th and the 6th plane. And the angels, they are stuck between the 3rd and the 4th planes of consciousness. And they act as the agents of God's will. They are being utilized by the avatar and the perfect master as agents for doing the God's will. But they have never been incarnated. And Baba says that at any given point in time, one archangel and one angel may incarnate in the human body, and only at that particular incarnation, that particular so-called archangel gets God realization. They do not have to go through the entire gamut of the inner spiritual path or the involutionary journey. In that one life, you will get God realization. But Baba also said that we human beings are so more fortunate than the angels and the archangels, because human beings can have longing to become one with God, and they have the opportunity to be in close proximity with Baba and realize. But angels and archangels cannot realize God. They do not have the longing. They cannot touch. Of course, they can't touch because there is no physicality there. But what Baba is saying is that they are being used by the masters for the unfoldment of the divine plan. You got it, Pari?
Yes, understood.
This is just a brief.
Thank you.
This is just a brief understanding, but in God Speaks, He has given it much more. Okay.
Hi.
Now today. Okay, you want to say something? Go ahead, Pari.
No, just thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we have entered what we call as the Silence Day week, because Friday is the Silence Day. Friday, of course, we won't be speaking. Thursday is it's not my turn. Jimmy may take Khan or maybe Sam. I do not know. So it is in my thoughts. I don't know how I'm going to implement that. I have not yet prepared. That for tomorrow and for Wednesday, that means Tuesday and Wednesday, I will try to speak as much as possible on Baba's silence, something to do with Baba's silence. So the focus for Tuesday and Wednesday would be Baba's silence. Okay? Because Thursday I'm not there and Friday we are all silent. Okay then? Thank you very much. Thank you, Baba. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cyrus and Soumya. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Cyrus and Soumya.